So last week I did a video, a nesting doll video, and the nesting doll video was basically trying to promote this idea of own it. You have to own it, and lots of people are trying to help, but ultimately you have to own it. And then by owning it, it allows you to handle failure better and certainly risk better and all those things. And at one point at the end of the video, I said you have to be able to commit to a pitch. Because really that's what we were working on. How do you handle two pitches? So I got a text today, and the text was, what does commit to a pitch look like? So one of the things I realized is, many coaches are trying to help young kids get to the highest of levels without themselves having played at the highest of levels. And you can identify swing technique and you can say, this is what it looks like, but it's really difficult to understand what high level players are seeing and what they're thinking and how they're anticipating. Those are almost impossible. I played professional baseball, not at a high level, but I've been in the box against first round draft picks, and I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I know how hard it is. And so I set off on trying to find out, how do they think? What do they do? And so in going down this road, I realized that we have three reaction times, okay? And they are simple reaction time. A simple reaction time is whack-a-mole. See it, respond, see it, respond. We have recognition reaction time, and recognition is two moles are gonna pop up. One is red, one is blue, only hit the red. That's recognition reaction time. And the last one is choice reaction time, where if the red pops up, hit it with your right hand. If the blue pops up, hit it with your left hand. Those are your three types of reaction times. And this one is quite frankly unrealistic, simply because pitchers throw multiple pitches eventually. So the simple reaction time is nice in beginning baseball. It's important in beginning baseball, but eventually it just disappears. And choice reaction time is just too slow. You have to respond in a short amount of time. So you can't be processing all those different ways to respond based upon what it is you're seeing. So this is unrealistic and this is too slow, which leaves us with recognition reaction time. And recognition reaction time, I wrote you have to assume go. Well, one of the things that not everyone's played big league baseball, but everyone has merged with traffic. And in many respects, this is a timing task, right? So if you think about hitting a baseball, there are two types of ways you can fail. You can have a swing error and your swing is a mess and you're working like crazy on your swing, or you can have a timing error. And when it comes to merging is probably the most common thing we do that is a timing task, where you get on the on-ramp and you're looking for some place to enter. If you've ever merged, you've participated in a timing task. Well, what happens with young people when they're learning to merge is oftentimes when they approach the highway, what they're looking for is danger. They want to know, what should I avoid? And anytime that you look for danger, anytime you have this sense of fear or a little bit of pressure, what happens is your focus really starts to narrow. And down in here is where we should merge. But many times young drivers, and if you've ever worked with a young driver, you know this, is they turn this position here and they start seeing the closest things, and then they can't anticipate where to merge. So what has to happen is, if you want to really promote recognition reaction time, which is hard. I mean, I don't pretend to say this is easy. It is hard. But what you really have to do is you have to create a much broader focus. So as you look, you're not identifying things in the narrow, but you're identifying things in the wide. And because we are expert drivers, older people, when we start to merge, what we do is we've merged successfully 1,000 times before. So we don't see this as a dangerous process. We see it as just part of the process. And when it's part of the process, you assume go. You assume that you're going to move into traffic and your vision scans for an appropriate place to enter. That's a very, very wide lens. So what we have to do to create a recognition reaction time is to broaden our hitter's lens. Well, how do you broaden your hitter's lens? Well, first of all, I didn't know this, but my brother told me that when they asked Hank Aaron, they said, what was your secret to being a good hitter? And he said, I love to hit. And at first that sounds like Pollyannish, like there's got to be a reason. It had to be your fast wrist. It had to be something, your eyes. But he said, I love to hit. And what I believe is true is I believe when you approach things with a general love of things, a love and excitement, I think naturally your gaze expands. And when your gaze expands, recognition reaction time gets a whole lot easier. When your gaze narrows, you immediately almost go into this choice reaction time, because these things are scary. And because my vision is narrow, I don't have an opportunity to be successful because I can't see the big picture. So when you talk to big league hitters, or when you hear them talk, sometimes they'll say, well, I just see it big, or sometimes they'll say see ball, hit ball. And you're like, no, I need more. I need the good stuff. Tell me what you think about your elbow. Tell me what you think about your knee. And it's all well and good for spatial errors and swing errors, but this idea of recognition reaction time hinges on a very, very wide gaze. And you'll talk to ocular specialists, and they'll talk about, like, do you see the narrowing of the wrist? Do you see? And what they're getting at is, once you achieve this very high level and you have this broadening perspective, you're allowed to pick up things that you wouldn't otherwise pick up. And for all of us expert drivers, we know that, like, you don't anticipate a deer jumping out, but when they do, you're able to respond. You can sort of see things in your periphery that younger drivers can't. And that's really the crux of recognition reaction time. It's how do we go from a simple avoid a choice, spend all this time on recognition reaction time. And I believe it hinges on making sure our time in the batter's box isn't a dangerous thing. It's not a frightening thing. And how do we do that? Well, when people say trust the process, that's what they're getting at. It's not highlighting risk, not telling kids, penalizing a swing and a miss, not promoting anxious moments, because all of those things will narrow your focus. And when they narrow your focus, you cannot identify the big picture. And when you can't identify the big picture, you are forced to go into choice reaction time, and that's too slow. And so this idea of recognition reaction time ties together this very wide lens, the love of the game, excitement of the game, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you love it, the less bad pitches you swing at, and all of a sudden you're a tough out and you're identifying things you don't even know how you're identifying. Okay, so I don't know if that did us much good, but that's my best effort at explaining how do you commit to a pitch.